we are sitting at the mangroves here, obviously. Oh. And he's back. I remember there was a specific time which was unusual to me. Alright crew, welcome back to another episode. This one we are sitting at the mangroves here, obviously. There's a beautiful mangrove tree behind us. But this is the Q&A, so people have been asking us lots of questions
to get to know us a bit better.
Instagram and on YouTube, so Caitlin's compiled all of those together and we're going to answer all your questions. But before that, we did a little mission over to the islands the other day with Xander and Annie, and we did some spearing. So we're just going to roll on some footage for you of that spearing mission that we did. I think we ended up with a trout and a red emperor. Annie's first fish that she's ever shot, so that was pretty exciting. And Xander, the goal of the day was for me to get Xander a fish, and it just didn't work out that way. But here's some footage, beautiful coral. We're going to roll on now.
Go.
We are at one of our remote islands here, and today, pretty special, we've got Caitlin with us. She's just tying Indy up. Hi Caitlin.
Hi.
We've got Annie here. She's just tying her hair up.
Hi.
Annie's back from South Australia, where she's been playing with great whites, and you may remember her from such episodes as camping on a glass bottom boat. And any other episodes you're in?
Scuba diving.
Scuba diving. She was in the scuba diving episode, so if you haven't seen them, go back and check them out. And we've also pulled Xander out of school today. Hey mate.
Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm here and I am very busy.
So Xander's ready to spear his PB trout. We might have left our dash a little bit late. Bit of a sea state. We've got Captain Kato on the helm. Annie, the first mate. Pleased to announce we have arrived at our destination.
She loves everything.
Except thongs.
Indy, is everything the best? Is everything the best thing you've ever seen?
This is our long-awaited Q&A. So we're sitting here in the mangroves and we're just going to get to know you guys a little bit, or you're going to get to know us a little bit better.
First question, did we survive the cyclone?
Yes. Yes.
If you've seen our last episode, then you would know that yes, we did in fact survive the non-existent cyclone.
March and April is still considered cyclone season here. So we're still definitely in the hottest part of cyclone season.
And it was good practice too, like in the 3 years that you've had the business, we haven't had to do it, and in my 3 years of living here, I haven't had to do it, so it was good practice to just know the process for packing up for a cyclone, and then, yeah, hopefully we don't have to do it again. Next question, where are we from originally?
Well, you go first.
Alright, well I am from South Australia, so I've spent my whole life growing up on the Fleurieu Peninsula down there. So yeah, that's where I've been my whole life up until 3 years ago when I moved to Exmouth.
Me, I'm a mongrel. That's what I tell everyone when they ask me where I'm from. So my dad is English from Yorkshire in England. My mum is Dutch from Heerenveen in the Netherlands, obviously. Frisian. And I was born in Singapore. So my family growing up moved a lot. We moved every 2 years all around the world. And my brothers were born in separate countries as well. We've all got our own country. I was born in Singapore. I was only there for 5 days, and then we went back to Balikpapan. It was a little bit like Exmouth. You can't have babies in Exmouth. You have to leave a month before you have the baby, because there's no hospital here that deals with childbirth. So I was born in Singapore. 5 days later, went to Balikpapan, and then I think we went and lived in Greece for a little while, in Athens, and then Dubai and Abu Dhabi and in the UAE, and then Abu Dhabi in the UAE, and then we moved to Houston, Texas. Then we moved to Dallas, Texas. Obviously my dad was in oil exploration, so anywhere there was sort of oil exploration happening, that's where we went. And then Lafayette, Louisiana. So I spent a total of 10 years in the USA. I actually left there with a green card. I was born with an Australian passport and an English passport, and it's very complicated.
You're from everywhere, I'm from
I'm a mongrel.
one place. You're much more interesting.
Not really.
Right. Next one. What brought us to Exmouth? Well, I came up to Exmouth probably maybe like 7 years ago. In my first year of uni, I saw on Instagram that you could swim with whale sharks, and I was like, that's a thing that you can just go and do. So I asked this girl that I had just met at uni if she wanted to come up to Exmouth to swim with whale sharks with me, and she was like, sure, whatever. So I came up here with my new friend from uni and swam with whale sharks and had our little tourist holiday here. And on the plane home, I was like, I'm gonna live there one day. And then when I got home, yeah, so many fishies. I contacted all of these companies in Exmouth and said, what do I need to do to work for you? And then for the next 3 years while I finished my uni degree, I went and did my dive masters and just got all of the qualifications that they told me that I needed to have. So yeah, pretty much worked for those 3 years to move to Exmouth. And then it took me an extra year after that, but I eventually made it back here and I've been here ever since.
I've always felt more comfortable in the water. So when I ended up in Perth, that would have been 97. I arrived in Perth as a young fella, and I lived with my brothers down in Perth, and they brought me up to Exmouth that first Christmas I arrived in Australia, and they put me through my open water course. I did my first open water dive on the Navy pier up there, and I just fell in love with scuba diving. Didn't really have an opportunity to do it. Anyway, I went down a bit of a, I don't know how to describe it, the dark path down in Perth. Wasn't living my best self. I wasn't, I've always felt an affinity to nature. And I think living in the city was the first time I really did it. The school I went to in the UK was in the country. It was the first time I'd ever really lived in a city, and it didn't gel with me. But it came to a point where I was actually doing a job. I started at uni there at UWA. I was door knocking selling Optus door to door while I was waiting for uni. And then when I got to uni, they said, oh, because you've come from the UK system, you'll have done everything that you're going to do in the first year. I just switched off, and so I didn't get the grace to go into year 2 of uni. So they said, go away, think about what you want to do with your life, and come back in a year. So I just went away, I didn't come back. I ended up digging holes, putting overhead power lines underground in Perth, and I can remember one day I dug a hole. We were hand digging them in Claremont, in the sand there, and I dug a hole so deep I couldn't get out of it, and everyone knocked off and just left me in the hole. I had to collapse the hole to get out of the hole, and I can just remember thinking that my life was more than this, that if that was it, I wasn't really into it. I wanted to do more with my life, and I remember having a conversation with my parents. They asked me what I loved doing, and I said, well, I really love scuba diving. So my parents helped me with all my courses. I went through advanced, rescue diver, dive master, all down in Perth, at Perth Diving Academy, and then I did my instructors, and pretty much straight away once I got my instructors, I interviewed for a job up here, which I got, and I drove up in my little Subaru Leone back in 2000, which blew up in the car park when I got into town, and that was probably a sign. And then I've been here ever since. That's about 23 years. I've been in Exmouth on and off. I've left, but come back again. And I've done lots of different jobs since I've been here. So what is our day job before this? And what is our day job now? Go.
So before I was here, I worked as a dive master in South Australia. So I worked at a dive shop in Adelaide, and I started out obviously sort of as an intern getting my dive masters, and then from there I started doing leafy sea dragon tours. So I'd take people diving around Adelaide to see leafy sea dragons, and then I worked on the boats there, so doing lots of wreck dives and reef dives down there on the temperate reefs, and then from there, that was sort of in my last year of uni when I was planning on moving to Exmouth, and I had completely got everything ready to move to Exmouth, but then sort of last minute I ended up getting a job diving with great white sharks in Port Lincoln. So I sort of tossed up whether I wanted to do that or stick with my plans to move to Exmouth, but it seemed like too cool of an experience to pass up, so I ended up putting off Exmouth. And yeah, I ended up going and working on a boat down there doing liverboards out to the Neptune Islands and taking people scuba diving with white sharks, and I did that in the year that COVID happened. So I had 2 or 3 months, I think, of just normal like tourism, taking people diving, and then when COVID happened, obviously everything shut down. So the rest of that year ended up being a lot of like research trips and filming documentaries. So I worked on, speaking of sharks, little one there. So I worked on a lot of the Shark Week documentaries that year, and yeah, some really cool research with the white sharks. So I did that for about a year, and then after that I was like, yep, it's time to move to Exmouth now. So that's when I came up here. When I got here, I came here with the intention of working on a whale shark boat, because that's what I'd done when I came up here for my little holiday, and so that's what I dreamt of doing for the 4 years that I was in SA before then. But yeah, everything just lined up differently, and I ended up getting a job on the glass bottom boat, and so I've worked on the glass bottom boat ever since.
And upskilled.
Yeah, so I did the first couple years on the glass bottom boat as a tour guide, deckhand, snorkel guide, that sort of thing, and then the beginning of last year learnt the skipper role, and so I've been skippering ever since then.
Caitlin's understating all of this. It's pretty amazing for me to watch Caitlin arrive here as a pretty fresh dive master, but someone that sort of dreamt on working on whale shark boats. And she was a very competent decky, but had never even really driven a tinny before. And now she drives both of our boats. She drives the Sea Panda. She launches them by herself at the tender in the morning. I can remember, Caitlin's probably not going to like me telling this story, but I can remember when Caitlin started driving last year. At the beginning of last year, Caitlin had just got her coxswain's ticket, and we had gone down to the boat ramp in the morning, and there was this other chick that rocked up, had just been out for a surf by herself and pulled a tinny up by herself, and had done everything by herself, backed the car down, loaded it up, and Caitlin was like, I want to be like that. And the funny thing is it's come full circle now, because I've had someone else in the last couple of weeks come up to me and say, I want to be like Caitlin, because they saw her launching the boat down the boat ramp. And so she's pretty inspirational, so we're pretty proud.
Stop it.
I've done lots of different jobs. My thought when I came to Exmouth was that I always wanted to have my own business. I always felt like I wanted my own business, and I worked for years trying to learn how to run business. I probably should have just thrown myself into it, because I've learned more doing that myself in the last 3 years than I have, which gives a hint about what's going on there. But as I said before, I did door knocking, I've done hole digging, I've done volunteer work in Africa, I've done vet assistant, and then I moved to Exmouth and I was a dive instructor. Then I was a dive boat skipper. I drove whale watching cruises, I drove whale shark boats, scuba diving obviously. I was a marine park ranger here for a couple of years. I also drove the Yardie Creek boat for a little while, and then I didn't really enjoy the working for the government side of things. I found it was a very slow moving machine, and it still frustrates me to this day. But I went back into tourism, 2006 that was, and driving whale shark boats, and I did that for about another 3 years, and then I was by that stage about 9 years in tourism, and I was looking for something that would make me some money, because I never had any money. So I went and started working offshore. I was a decky on a tug to start with, and then in the first 5 years I sort of worked offshore, I went from being a decky on a tug to being the marine superintendent at Barrow, which on the Gorgon project, which was the largest resource project in Australia at the time. So we were building a jetty out there. Honestly, I was talking about this with Caitlin yesterday. I've always felt like I'm just waiting for everyone to find out you don't know what you're talking about. And I think that's quite common in the world, is people, you fake it till you make it. Like, even today, I think there's so many more people out there that know so much more than we do. But yeah, just have the confidence to back yourself. And this is part of this, is we're just putting ourselves out there. So 2009 I went offshore, superintendent by 2015 at Barrow, and that was, we had a fleet of about 75 vessels and about 120 crew, and that was a real big project for me. And when that finished, there was no work around. It sort of all dried up, and I was on a trajectory. By that stage I had my Master Class 4, which now allows you to drive vessels up to 45 metres within 200 nautical miles. Caitlin's ticket is a coxswain's ticket, which is 12 metres to 15 nautical miles, something like that.
Something like that.
So I was on a trajectory to do my Master 3 and then my Master 1, and I just saw the future as being me 5 weeks at sea, 5 weeks off, and it was a little bit soul destroying for me. As well as that, we had a couple of young kids. By the time Barrow finished, my son Xander was 4 months old and my daughter was about 3.5, and I wanted something that would keep me home more. So we were looking for work everywhere, found nothing, but I eventually got a job at Christmas Island, where I ran the stevedores at the port there. I ended up doing that for 3 years. It got pretty hard with the remoteness out there. There was only 2 flights a week, so we moved back to Exmouth. And I did some odd jobs working for Bhagwan Marine, which is a tug company. But I was always looking for that thing that would keep me home and let me have my passion for the ocean. When I was a kid, my idol was David Attenborough, and I always imagined doing wildlife documentaries. So in the end of 2020, so mid-COVID, or at the beginning of, sorry, end of 2019, beginning of COVID, it was just starting. We were already looking at the glass bottom boat, and we withdrew from the purchase of the boat because COVID hit. And then mid-COVID, we sort of knew a little bit more about what was going on. Exmouth was actually pumping during COVID. And so we ended up purchasing the glass bottom boat on the 4th of January, 2021 at 4 p.m. I can remember there was a specific time, which was unusual to me. But I can remember we picked up the buses and the 2 boats, and we moved them to where we were going to keep everything. And so for the last 3 years, we've been growing that business. And then in the background, I've had my photography page, Blue Crust Productions, which is on Instagram and on YouTube. And I've had a YouTube channel since 2013, which was Blue Crust Productions. And I never really did anything with it. Remember the early days of YouTube, 2013, everyone was just sort of putting montages up of footage that they got with music. And that's what I did. And then I had family holidays and stuff. It's all still there. You can go and look at it. Anyway, now I own the glass bottom boat in Exmouth, Ningaloo glass bottom boat, and we've got 2 boats. And yeah, Caitlin works with us.
Yep. So is the glass bottom boat full time? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, glass bottom boat is what pays the bills.
It's as full time as it can be. Like,
yeah,
obviously we are dependent on people wanting to go out on a tour, but yeah, pretty much full time.
And that's been a huge drama with the business. Is it's not like the whale shark operators that are fully booked months in advance. We book up the night before, and so crewing is difficult. Caitlin's been frustrated more than once about the lack of work. We think we have an excellent tour, and we try and keep it cheap so that people can come out and enjoy it with us. But we don't get to go to work unless people want to go to work with us.
What is our relationship to each other?
Go.
So yeah, we're mates. When I moved here and got the job on the Glassy, it was really, really hard at that point to find anywhere to live. Like, still hard now, but at that point it was pretty much impossible. So I moved up here in a van, and yeah, just couldn't find anywhere to live. So when Craig hired me, I was like, thanks for the job, but I might actually have to leave because I can't find anywhere to live. And so I ended up moving in with Craig and his family, and lived with them for a few months. And then I ended up buying a bus and living in a bus out on their block for like a year or...
Basically been bludgeoned for a while, eh?
Yeah, just been scooting around. But yeah, so I've pretty much lived with Craig and his family on and off for the last 3 years, and so they've sort of become my family too. So yeah, not so much my boss anymore, more just my mate. But yeah.
Which is awkward when I try and tell her what to do at work.
We're not married.
No, a lot of people keep thinking we're married and all this sort of stuff.
I don't think we're
just good mates.
Married energy.
No.
Alright, next question. Do we both have marine science degrees? I have a marine science degree. As I said before, I did 3 years at uni, so I have a Bachelor of Marine Biology. So I'm technically a marine biologist.
I started an environmental science degree, but as I said before, I got kicked out. So I never finished it. But I've always had a curious mind, and I've worked with marine biologists for years through tourism and doing scientific surveys out on the water, and you just pick stuff up over the years working. I
think you learn a lot more by being out in the environment than you do at uni anyway. Like, you leave uni and everyone expects you as a marine biologist to know what every single fish and creature is in the ocean, but it's not really like that. They teach you the basics, and they teach you how to figure things out and how to learn things, and then from there you just go out and learn. So I've definitely learnt more in my 5-6 years of working on the water than I learnt in my marine biology degree.
I think there's a really nice balance in tourism where, because it's quite a cyclical thing in terms of staff, we get a lot of people with a lot of different backgrounds and a lot of different knowledge areas that come to work with you. And so if you ever came out on tour with us, the talk that we do, people always say what an incredible talk Caitlin and I individually do on the boat, but it's an amalgamation of years of experience on the water, and listening to other tour guides, listening to other scientists.
And just constant learning as well.
And
if we
constant learning, like
get
we
asked
adapt.
a question that we don't know, or we see something we've never seen before, then we go home and figure it out, and that's how we build that knowledge. And I think that's the cool thing with tourism as well. Like, I get asked all the time, like, oh, you're a marine biologist, are you gonna go and like actually be a marine biologist at any point? And like, I don't look at a marine science degree or being a marine biologist as a job, it's more a set of skills. So I think being out in tourism, it's sort of like bridging the gap between marine science and the community, because to be able to get that information across, someone has to be educating people. So I think, you know, just because I'm a marine biologist, I'm still communicating science to people, and so I think that's a really important part of
part of this
science. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do here as
part
well.
of this outlet. So this isn't just spearfishing. Anyway, next question.
Right, next question is, what made us start our YouTube channel?
Okay, so I had a YouTube channel previously, Blue Cross Productions, since 2013. It's been a passion of mine for a long time. I haven't pursued it for many reasons. One is I've been busy working away offshore. Two is I've had family commitments and young kids. If any of you out there got young kids, you know what that's like. But it's a huge investment in time, and it's a huge investment in money. And so I just got to a point this year. I think I started the idea of Ningaloo Crew about 2 years ago, you reckon?
2021.
2021. Around the same time as the boat. And then I never really had anyone to do it with. It's that time consuming. Having someone to help edit and do all those things is really, really important to me.
And just the presence of bouncing off each other as well, I think, can be a little bit, for us, more interesting than doing it alone.
100%. And so at the beginning of this year,
last year,
sorry, we had a friend, Lou, kept telling us that we should just do it, and I've always wanted to do wildlife documentaries, but sort of on my own terms. One of my favourite jobs I ever had was assisting in a small way with a David Attenborough documentary called The Hunt, filmed up here, or part of it was filmed up here, and that was one of my favourite jobs ever. So yeah, I've just wanted this for so long and just haven't had the time or the backing financially, and so the glassy kind of supports this habit.
Yeah, but they all link together as well. So yeah, we just Craig was sort of already starting to make videos, and then we just sort of like made a couple together that weren't like, I don't know, they weren't what we're making now, but yeah, we just sort of dipped our toes in a little bit. Yeah. And then from like July last year, I think.
Yeah, the first one we did was the orca one, under the glass. That was dip the toes in.
Yeah.
And then I think the first one was the tiger shark versus turtle.
Yeah, and we were so stoked with that video. Like, we were so excited about it. Yeah. We watched it so many times.
Yeah. And then we just made a commitment once a week. Bang. It's like now it's ingrained in us already, 6 months later, that we will take breaks. But we will endeavour to get you guys a video at 3 PM every Friday. Yeah, just as things pop up, we want to film them. We've got some ideas for lots of videos that we want to do. Some of them take more time and effort, and so the fill-in videos will be like the spearfishing ones and the little adventure ones that there's no real plan, but like the whaling station video, that was sort of a passion project.
That took us months.
That took us months. It doesn't feel like it, but just the research and all that sort of stuff as well. And there's other videos like that we have in mind. So this will always be a mix.
Yeah.
If something happens like the bushfires, we're going to film it and document it and put that out. If there's something like a cyclone, we'll film it and document it and put that out. If we go for a spear, we'll bring you along. If it's going to be a full mix of stuff.
Life up here is pretty diverse, so we're just bringing that diversity to what we make as well. I've always loved designing things too, so that's where our merch came from. When Beck and Craig bought their shop, Ningaloo Ebb and Flow, one of the first things that we wanted to do was make some t-shirts. So Yeah, we've got a few designs in there, and we're working on new merch as well. Got a little sneak peek today on the head.
I think like a lot of people during COVID, there's that shark again. I think like a lot of people during COVID, I came out of COVID with a real passion to pursue my dreams. I think a lot of people felt this. There was just no time like the present. So that's why I just threw myself, and Caitlin threw herself into this project last year. Because why not? Just everyone should.
Yeah.
I want to set that example for my kids.
So do we plan on making YouTube a full-time gig?
I don't know if anyone makes YouTube a full-time gig, but as much as you can, I think I would. I have lots of plans for the channel. We have lots of plans for the channel.
And I think we also have so many other things that we love doing and making and all of that as well. So we would never just focus on one thing.
But if you commit to us, we'll commit to you. Yeah?
Yeah. Is that it?
That's it.
Do we plan on doing longer trips similar to Back to Basics?
So, yes is the short answer. We would love to. But obviously, as we've explained previously, we've still got day jobs at the moment. There's so much to explore here that requires you to go for longer. I think ultimately my dream would be to have my little off-grid house out at the block where you guys saw last week where we tie the boats down. There's a beautiful little hectare there that I've been dreaming about for years and years and years. We bought the land and, sorry, I bought the land and couldn't afford to build a house yet. One day, hopefully. And then I'd also love to have like a sailing catamaran to explore all the islands here. Lots of cool wreck dives that we want to check out down the west side there, and so there's so much stuff to explore here.
In the shorter term, we'd be looking more at like taking the Sea Panda and going camping for a few days,
with
maybe
a couple
like
of swags.
Yeah, on the other side of the Gulf or down south on the reef, or yeah, just going for sort of shorter trips, but
that require that extra distance that it's not suitable to do in a day. But the logistics of that currently is very, very difficult.
Yeah, but if you do want to see some episodes like that of us doing little camping missions here and there, let us know. We would definitely love to do ones like that. Do we plan on having meetups?
Short answer, yes.
Yeah, so we've been working on a Patreon, so that would sort of allow us to build that little community to be able to do that sort of thing with. But that was always sort of the goal with Ningaloo Crew, was to make that into a community so that we're all sharing experiences, and yeah, that would sort of allow us to be able to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, and also we've got an amazing platform in the glass bottom boat. I think we may do some competitions in the future.
And if you do like the idea of the Patreon community as well, let us know about that, because we're still working on that. We're a little bit unsure about it. We're still a pretty small channel, but
the idea for me with Patreon would be to build a little community of people that could help us, not just financially. Financially is one thing, but it's more about building the community of people that just, you know, we don't know these hats, merch, which direction the channel should go, put videos out that people...
We want crew to be able to bounce stuff off of and to get involved in the channel and
in the community that we're building, and have a little community.
Yeah, but obviously, like you said before, this is a massive investment of time and money and all that sort of thing as well. So to have a Patreon would also help massively to support the channel.
I'll give you an idea of money in a minute when we talk about drones. There was a question about drones.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, well, the next question is, did we get a new drone, and what one did we get?
Okay, so the last I think you guys knew about the drone was it...
crashed.
We went out to try and film it out in the water when we were fishing. That was the fishing video. I can't remember which episode it was. I don't know the episode number, but we were out fishing and we caught those fish, and we tried to put the drone up to film the sharks around the boat. Yeah. And you got in with the sharks. Yeah. And the drone said missing parts, which is random. DJI replaced the drone for $900. It ended up being, with freight and all the other stuff, just over $1,000. And
this is a Mavic 3?
That was a Mavic 3.
Yeah.
So that was the original sort of Mavic 3 with the zoom, 7x zoom lens and the normal one. I've had a drone since the original DJI Phantom that you put your own gimbal under. I'm a remote pilot licensed operator. I've done my REPL. So I've had drones a long time, and that drone I probably got 2 years out of. I wanted a 3 for so long. I got 2 years out of it, and then it had this problem. Got replaced for just over $1,000. Got the new drone. I was flying it looking for this crocodile.
Like 4 days after
That Caitlin mentioned in the last video. So I'd had that drone for 8 days, and then I was coming into land, and it just took off out over the water and just dropped in the water. Anyway, next day Caitlin and I went out and snorkeled, and we found it. There's a short on us finding it, and yeah, so I did a flyaway report with DJI. They're now sending us another drone, this time free of charge because it was only 8 days old. In the meantime, because we didn't have a drone, Caitlin found one on local Facebook marketplace.
Yeah, just a second hand.
A Mavic 2, second hand, and we ended up getting that for $700. So that's $1,700 in the last 3 weeks that Ningaloo crew has spent on drones.
Yeah, but now we have a new Mavic 3 on its way, and we have a backup drone, the Mavic 2, which is great because I can also learn to fly it, and if I sink it, then...
Which will be amazing, because all of the footages of Caitlin, which you all say, oh, Caitlin, the footage is so amazing.
And everybody wants more of Craig strutting around.
No, they don't.
So, cool, couple of Exmouth questions. So, what is the best time of year to visit Exmouth? Depends what you want to see. There's pretty much something happening here all year round. So, if you're really into turtles, then like summer or now, like just after summer, is the best time of year to see turtles. So,
if you're really into people, July.
Yeah. So basically from the beginning of the year, you've got the turtles nesting, and then the hatchlings go till like sort of April-ish.
Now March, we're just coming into whale sharks.
Yeah, so the whale shark operators have just started back up this week. So there is whale sharks here all year round, but they're here in the biggest numbers from sort of March till about June-ish. Depends
July.
on the year. Yeah.
Even into August.
The coral spawn happens in a couple of weeks' time. Look at the little shark.
Yeah,
That's
little
sick.
fish.
Yeah, the coral spawn will be happening in a couple of weeks, so that sort of kickstarts a bit for the year as well. And then...
Into turtle mating. Oh, humpbacks.
Yeah, so once the whale shark season is finished, then we have the humpback whale season. So that goes from like winter till sort of November, I think, was the last ones that we had last year.
Yeah.
October, November.
Yeah, even some, I've seen them in December, really late ones.
And we have
But then you
orcas
also
in
have-
that time as well.
You also have blue whales coming through then. I've seen Bermuda's whales here.
Yeah.
Sperm whales here. Like, look, there's so much stuff going on. Coming into the sort of end of the whale season, but you start the turtle mating season when we get those massive aggregations on the beach, and there was a video we did on that.
And the shark aggregation as
And
well.
the shark
just here.
aggregation that we did on that. So, and then you're into nesting and hatching. Back, the whole cycle starts again.
And weather-wise, generally from like November to sort of now, well, this last season, November
This
onwards,
year was windy.
super windy. I feel like May, June is like
I
prime
like
for
May,
weather.
June.
That was the best last year, like super good veers and
No
like,
one
good
here in May.
wind.
No one here in May.
Yeah, that was nice. Can you surf here?
I can't because I don't surf.
Yeah, it's not a surf destination, like no one's coming here to surf, but there's a couple of beach breaks here, and there's a couple of breaks out on the reef as well, and generally winter as well we get a little bit more swell. Summer's pretty flat, but yeah, it's I wouldn't put this on your surfing bucket list. It's not like
It's not a
anything
surfing
crazy,
mecca.
but yeah, if
You
come
can
here,
get
you
away
can
with it.
surf. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're actually going to do an episode teaching Craig to surf. I've bought a
No.
10-foot foamy for this
Drop
giant.
a comment if you don't want to see me learning to surf. I think that's...
Everyone's going to want to see you flapping around on
Nah.
the surfboard.
No one
Anyway,
is, mate.
That's happening. That's also why I need to learn to fly the drone so I can film you just shredding up on your foamy.
Shredding, eating ocean.
Yeah, eating ocean. All right, last question. What would be our dream job if we weren't doing what we're doing?
Wildlife documentaries, just filming wildlife, just being out there filming, mate. I just love it. Like, I'm probably one of those weird people that could sit for hours, probably days, just to catch the thing that I want to catch. And my lack of time frustrates me in that way. I would quite happily, yeah, I mean, if I went on holiday with my family, I would be up at 6 in the morning out filming by myself. I can sit, yeah, I just love it. Filming.
Yeah.
Filming and making little documentaries and bringing a world that's not usual to people to them.
Yeah. So my dream job, if I wasn't here, this pretty much was my dream job. I worked for a few years to be here. But before that, my dream job was to be a shark researcher. So that's the reason that I went and did marine biology at uni, because I wanted to study sharks, and I worked throughout that time to make connections with shark researchers there, and that's how I ended up working with the white sharks and doing research with them. So that was all really cool. After being in Exmouth and having so many magical experiences with cetaceans, I've realised that cetaceans intrigue me a lot more than sharks do. So if I was to do any more research, I would love to research whales. I think whale song intrigues me so much, and obviously orcas are like my favourite thing in the whole world. I would love to study them.
Mine too.
But yeah, I also loved the work that I got to do on documentaries and filming and stuff. Works out well. We both want to film some documentaries and make some stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the Q&A. That's all of the questions that we got asked. If you have any questions that we didn't answer, then feel free to put them in the comments and we'll respond to them down there. But I hope you got to know us a little bit better.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't too boring. And that's it. So we'll see you next week here on Ningaloo Crew.
Bye!
Bye!
I'm feeling a big coral trout.
Big coral trout.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
Don't feel it, shoot it.
Alright, I'll feel it after I shoot it.
There she goes. She's free. I need my water bottle, I reckon.
Wait, I reckon it would be better to be up a little bit more, don't you think?
Wow!
Ciao, ciao.
Welcome back to another...
Wait. Alright, go. Alright, the camera overheated. We're back.
You guys are so hot right now.
So hot right now.
You just keep overheating.
Just wait for it. Ningaloo Crew documentaries, they be coming.
Yeah, there's the
One day.
Negretta sacra
Ooh,
in its grey morph.
very nice. So
If you
sweet.
know what a Negretta sacra is, drop a comment. Just gonna Google that. They're just gonna Google that.
Yeah.
Oh, someone commented on my pedicure, by the way. My son painted my toenails, and if you have kids, you'll know you never say no when it comes to getting a pedicure from
They're
your
very
kids.
glamorous. It was a quality job too. It's lasted a while.
I am
These have been a few
glamorous.
episodes strong.
Yeah.
Camera overheated again.